Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nomade Discover Series 2020. Thank you everyone that's joining in. Today we're gonna travel to Chiloé, a different destination in Chile. Is at the beginning of Patagonia in the Chilean side, and is a very special island. We're gonna discuss a little bit about the destination and then what is the best property to actually stay in Chiloé. But let's start understanding with a little. I'm gonna set up a little poll so we can understand exactly if you guys have heard of this destination, if you have sent any passengers, or actually you haven't heard about this destination at all. So please help me answering the poll, and in that way we'll see um, how much into detail we need to go into the destination itself. Or and in the hotel as well. Okay, perfect. So okay, so 33% of people have sent clients to Chiloé, 67% have heard of Chiloé, and good. Uh, it's not a new destination for anyone here, so we can actually go ahead and start. Okay. If you haven't joined in before to our Nomad Discover series, we are a representation company for luxury product of South America. We have a portfolio of unique experiences from Chile, Peru, and Antarctica. Okay. If you have sent passengers to Chile, is a gateway to South America. Most airlines, LATAM Airlines, Qantas, they fly direct to Santiago, and Chile is a land of contrast. Okay, so from the north in the country, you have the driest desert in the world. Going through the center of the country, you have all the wineries or the wine district. Then you have the lake district, a lot of volcanoes. Going all the way into Patagonia, and being the gateway to Antarctica as well. Okay, but today we're going to talk about Chiloé, a very different destination compared to the other iconic destinations in Chile. If you have sent passengers to Chile, you probably send them to Patagonia, in Torres del Paine National Park, to the Atacama Desert, to Easter Island, and Santiago as well. Okay, and Chile is a bit different compared to these other destinations. It's a destination that is their main income is not based on the tourism industry. So people here they still live from the land. They're still fishermen, and they mainly don't speak English. So I would say that this is probably the most authentic destination that you can visit in Chile, okay, if not South America. There's a lot of culture involved in this destination, and this is and the cultural component of what Chiloé has to offer is the reason to actually add this destination to the itinerary of your clients. All if your clients are going to South America, they are looking for the cultural experience. But when you go, but the what you can get out of other destinations in Chile is more. It focuses more into nature. You go to Torres del Paine National Park, is a nature destination. Even though you have aspects of culture, is more a nature destination. Then the Atacama Desert as well. So you have amazing photography. You go around different national parks and very close to the Andes mountain range. The reason to send your passengers to Chiloé is to add that strong cultural component that is based on encounter local people and meeting them personally. Even though they don't speak the language, you'll be very welcoming and you'll be able to see how the people of Chiloé actually lives. Nature is a big one. It's the second biggest island in South America after Tierra del Fuego, which is part of Patagonia as well. And here you have a different type of culture in the Chiloé island. But nature, of course, is part of what you will see. A lot of national parks surround in different parts of the island, and of course, more than 200 islands that makes the this archipelago, the Chiloé archipelago. Okay. As I was saying, the most important part of visiting Chile is their people. Is the authenticity, is living from the land, is living from the ocean, and encountering a destination that is literally traveling into the past to see how the people live in this area and how they survive, and they have a very different culture compared to the rest of the country. mainly in Chile and also South America. I think in Chiloé, the social structure of the communities are based on a matriarchy. That means that the elderly women of the community is the person that is in charge, and is where people go for wisdom and ask them for permission to actually be able to harvest their crops, to go fishing, and a lot of respect for women in this culture. That doesn't mean in the rest of South America it's not like this, but especially in Chiloé, you can see it right away. To give you an example of how it works, the owner of OCIO Territorial Hotel had to uh, the matriarch of the area that the hotel is located have to give permission to him to actually buy the land. And that took around between 5 to 7 years. So it's not just coming into an area and just go buy land and put a hotel. It's not like that. Okay, so it's a bit, as I said, it's a bit different compared to the rest of the country, and we'll go into more detail into that as well. Being an island is and having a different culture. It means also that they have a lot of myths and legends. So you have ghost ships, you have creatures on the forest, and you'll be listening to these. It's not in your face. It's not right there. It's not right away. You won't hear too much about it until you actually are in the island. Probably after dinner, having a couple of drinks, you start talking about these creatures of the forest, and then experience what all the locals talk about these legends and these myths, and of course, based of nature, and these myths allow us for them to actually know when it's a good time to harvest as well, or go fishing, and different aspects of their daily life. So it's very in very involved with the type of living that they're doing. Okay, let me show you a little video about the destination, so you can check a little bit more about this, and then we'll continue our presentation. Okay, that gives you an idea of what Chiloé is all about. Okay, but let's talk a little bit where Chiloé is located. So in the south part of the country, when we finished, or when the at the beginning of Patagonia, you can see the island right there, and this is the beginning of Patagonia for Chile, and is the end of the Lake District. Okay, a lot of volcanoes and going into these more remote areas. Okay, we have a question about different areas of Chile. So you have in the north part, you have the Atacama Desert. Then in the center part of Chile, you have Santiago, of course. It will be your gateway to South America and for the country as well. Then going 3 hours, 3 hours driving south of Santiago, you'll have the wine district mainly all the wineries are located. Then you have the Lake District, and then Patagonia, starting with Chiloé and then going south. So those are the different areas of Chile. Most people, for first timers, they will consider Atacama Desert, Patagonia, and if they're willing to actually do a 5-hour flight to Easter Island, it will be an option as well. Okay. The good thing about Chiloé is that even though you're going to Patagonia or Atacama, north or south, you can actually combine it with, like, to a destination like Chiloé. Okay, that's a little bit what you can experience with this, because it will add the cultural component to their travel experience. Okay, as I was saying, this destination, a land of myth and legends, unique folklore and culinary traditions. As you were seeing on the video, you have the Buranto, this ancient way of cooking. You see this way of cooking as well in the Pacific Islands, Easter Island as well, even in New Zealand, and other parts of Polynesia. Okay, and you see one of the most known postcards of the destinations is the palafitos, which is actually these colorful houses on stilts. And the reason they can build this is because the high tide and the low tide is a big difference. And in low tide here, you can actually walk around this area, and high tide, you can actually arrive by through the water. Okay. Catholicism and religion is very strong in South America, and especially in a destination like Chiloé, and that's why you have more than 100 churches built through time. And most of the design of these churches came from Europe, but they didn't have all the materials that they have in Europe, so they end up doing everything in wood. And there are 16 of these unique churches that are actually declared World Heritage Sites by UNESCO. And the church is not only a place of worship, that is the place where all the community meets every week, and you have even parties and people gathering, and it's a social event. Okay, so it's not just about religion, it's about the heart of the community. And some of these churches are dated to the 17th century, so 1654, 55. You have the first churches that start appearing in Chiloé, and then they develop into what it's now. And some of these churches that are part of the UNESCO World Heritage, they haven't been built with any nails. It's just woodworking at its best. So that's an amazing part of what you can see in the destination. Okay, as I was saying, nature is still there. You won't, to be completely honest, you won't have the wow factor that you can experience in a nature destination like Torres del Paine, for example, or the Atacama Desert. But there are amazing places that you can see why all these myths and legends are there. And I put this picture for a special reason, because this is what you see probably every morning in Chiloé. Okay, it's a humid climate, cool temperate climate as well. You are by the ocean, so that means fog and clouds are part of what you'll experience during autumn and winter. And then in the summertime, which is probably the best time to go, between October and April, is when you have the best weather and the most sunshine as well. Okay. Some of the highlights of the destination, the national parks, some waterfalls, but as I was saying, being a cultural destination, UNESCO World Heritage Churches, 16 of them, but you have more than 100 in total in the whole archipelago. Okay, then crossing to the island by ferry, and then all the handcraft in different markets around the island. But the most important thing for me is the people. When you are there and you have the chance to meet people that probably they have never been out of the island or never been even to Santiago, which is the capital of Chile, is something that it creates a big impression. Okay. And now let's go to the hotel. Okay, the hotel is called OCIO Territorial Hotel. This is in the Rilan Peninsula, and it's looking into Castro, which is the main city in Chiloé. Okay, so you have amazing views and a really good access to the main highlights of the destination. Okay, the Rilan Peninsula is very important for Chiloé. Is where all the produce is they people take all their produce into Castro for selling, and is the Rilan Peninsula is actually supplying the city of Castro with their harvest and the food and wool and all the materials that they can produce in this area. Okay. OCIO Territorial Hotel is a 15-room boutique hotel based on a very high-end service, but keeping the authenticity of the island. Okay, that's very important. So when you go in, you will face right away this living room and telling you what's on offer in terms of the different excursions that the hotel offers. One of the main ones is every night or every afternoon at around 6 p.m. you do a sailing around Castro, and you will see the palafitos, which are these houses on stilts, very colorful. And you get out of the hotel, you have a pisco sour, and you will have an idea of what the destination is all about. So that will be a really good welcome to your clients into the destination. Here we have the view of the hotel looking into the city of Castro. Okay, so that's very important. Okay. I also want to share a little bit about the history of this hotel. It's not just another hotel that as the other hotels, even the ones that we manage. And when most of them headquarters is in Santiago, they have a commercial department, a marketing department, and it functions like a normal hotel. This one is a bit different. This what you can see there sitting down is the owner of the hotel. He lives in Chiloé. He managed the hotel, so is the owner that actually if he's there, he'll be welcoming you and taking your luggage into your room. So it's very involved what is happening, and this involvement has allowed him to create a network with his neighbors that that allow his neighbors to be part of the experience that the hotel is offering. So you have exclusive access to know some of the local people that without being in this hotel you won't be able to meet. And you see people that harvest potatoes, people that are fishermen, even when you go out on a boat and do some sailing around Castro, is one of the neighbors that takes you out in his boat. So everything is very familiar, very community oriented. Authentic. This is the word that describes not only the destination but also the hotel. What you see here is the original house of the owners, an architecture that is basically from this part of Chile and this part of the world. Design in terms of buildings being in separated areas, and so it involves having the land as part of what you're going to be using every day. Okay, so it's a bit different compared to other destinations in Chile as well. Okay, again, the hotel and the view. And of course, what you see here are the common areas of the hotel. There are 2 rooms in this part of the hotel, but you have the dining room, the living room, and the front desk as well. Rooms, as I said, 15 rooms, 3 suites with up to 80 square meters. We want to provide the most comfortable space possible with amazing views. All the rooms have the same views into the ocean and into Castro City. So the idea is to provide a very comfortable experience for the clients. This is one of the suites as well, and you can see this property is big, 20 hectares of land that will provide not only amazing views, but you can actually go into the property and reach all the way to the coast, and from there you'll be able to take the boat to do your sailing around Castro. If you see the architecture of the hotel, this is important. They took all the elements that make the local architecture as part of the hotel, and this is divided in some of the main elements of the hotel. So again, we discussed about the local architecture to be in separate units or blocks, just to be able to involve nature around as part of the experience. And here they have done the same thing. So you have the common areas of the hotel on the right side of your screen, and then you have different rooms. The three separate buildings are the suites up to 80 square meters, and then you have the other rooms that are around 40 square meters, 6 of them. Okay, and then in the original house you have some other rooms as well. In terms of the excursions, OCIO Territorial offers an all-inclusive type of program. Okay, so it means transfer from the local airport, accommodation, of course, all meals, open bar, and all the excursions with professional guides. Okay, we have 17 different excursions, and here are more based in the cultural aspect, seeing the different cities, the markets. And then if passengers actually want to sign up to see, for example, do some kayaking or horseback riding, they will be able to have access to that as well. And of course, all the national parks around Chiloé Island. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of an example of what you can experience around the island. Here you have, for example, you're going to Pucao National Park in yellow, as well as it's called Bosque Piedra, which is a rock forest that you can see there as well. And the different parts, like in red, you have the Rilan Peninsula. The hotel is right there in the heart of Chiloé Island. Boat rides with penguins, you'll be able to see penguins, and even there's the whale season in autumn. Okay, so the idea is that the excursions, they suit everyone in their own way, so they can discover the destination in their own way, but they mostly cover pretty much all of the island. Okay, we don't want to take you to far corners, but you can actually do it if you want, to be able to minimize time that you spend on a vehicle. But the idea is to, at least if you go on a 3-night stay or 2-night stay, you should be able to see what you see, what are you looking to right now on the screen: markets, the main cities, and the national parks. I prepare a little bit of a sample itinerary for you. So let's say we have 3 nights, 4 days, okay, to go. Let's say day 1, you arrive into the hotel. We can actually, if you arrive into Castro Airport, okay, you have 2 choices. You can actually go straight into the hotel. It's a 40-minute transfer, or you can actually go into Castro, see what the market is all about. It will depend on the time of your flight, but you'll be able to arrive into Castro market and the wharf, and then do a sailing right away from Castro into the hotel. And this is a perfect way to arrive, because you'll get into the vibe and what's happening in the city, and see these houses on stilts, the palafitos, right away, and understand what is the dynamics of this destination right away. Okay, then you can have lunch, and then in the afternoon you can do an excursion about around the Rilan Peninsula, so near the hotel. So to take advantage of the time, and that afternoon, there are really cool places. You can see there the Rilan Church, which is part of the 16 churches that are part of UNESCO World Heritage Site, and of course you have the hotel itself. In day two, let's say you have this will be your first full day. So you have the markets of Talcahué, you have the Quinchao, which is an island or an island near the hotel. So you'll be able to see the local churches. You'll see the markets of Chiloé, and you will have a really good idea of the importance and the involvement of all these churches in the community and what's being uh, doing in terms of the history of the place. So you have at the beginning, you have native people living in the island, then the Spanish comes and push the Mapuches, which are the main native people from Chile. They push them into the island. The first people that live here, they live from the ocean, and then they come these other people that live from the land. And that's why you come up with this type of cuisine or gastronomy that involves the sea, the land, and on top of that, you have religion. So it's a very strong mix of cultures that have blended together and create something very unique. Okay. There's a question about Castro. So, if there's more to see than stopover from Santiago, yeah, Castro is a city that, of course, you have is the main city, is the capital of Chiloé, the main city of the destination. In a, I would say it's part, for example, in this itinerary, it's a full day. You will go through Castro, and you will be able to experience to see the church. It's the main one. It's very bright. It's yellow. It's in the middle. It's in the center of the city. But right there you have the wharf with the markets and the handcraft markets. So it will be the heart of the city of Chiloé itself. And from there you'll be able to understand a little bit more. But then when you see Castro and then you go to different smaller towns like Talcahué that are very famous for the handcraft market, um, you will understand what are the dynamics between one town and the main city. So there's more to see. There's more to see, but we try to keep it not. We don't want to spend one full day in Castro. Okay, we want to show you what it's all about, and then continue to keep showing you what the destination has to offer. Okay. On day three, so on day two, the idea is to do more a little bit of culture, so to do the UNESCO World Heritage Churches, see the handcraft markets, understand a little bit how the city, the dynamics of each of the cities, and how people live and and survive in this part of the world. Okay, then on day three, another full day, we will have the chance to actually go to the other side of the island where you don't have a lot of people living. It's more based on national parks. And here you have this is the side of the island. So the west side of the island is facing the Pacific Ocean. And here is very raw. So you have the raw power of the Pacific Ocean meeting the countryside, which is a side that you don't see everywhere in the world. I would say Chile is very unique in this sense. Um, and it feels very remote, even though you're close to Castro and even the hotel is 1 hour transfer from the hotel to this area, 1 hour and a half. You feel the remoteness of the place and how raw nature can be on this part. Okay, so it's very interesting to see. And in the same area, you'll be able to see it's called Muelle de las Almas or the Wharf of Souls. Okay, is a piece that people go here, take a picture, and but it has an amazing view of the Pacific Ocean. Okay. In terms of the hotel, as I said, the most important thing of OCIO Territorial Hotel is that every time you go out on an excursion, you meet someone local. You'll meet some of the friends of the hotel, some of the neighbors, and this is what makes Chiloé very special. One of my favorite destinations in the world, and of course, all favorite destinations in Chile. Um, when last time I went with my family, I have small kids. Last time I went with my family to Chile. This is the only destination that I took my kids on my last trip because I wanted to see the real Chile. This is very authentic. So for those type of clients that want to add a cultural experience, that want to have a local encounter, and are willing and they want to learn a bit more about the destination that they're visiting, this is the right place. And a 3 or 4 night stay, it will be perfect. Okay, so let me show you a little bit the video about what the hotel has to offer, and then we finish. Okay, so that's what Chiloé, as you saw in the video, very traditional type of destination. Again, the idea or the philosophy of also Territorial Hotel is to provide an amazing experience that will give you access to the culture, the people, and the destination. So there's a couple of questions about what we talked before about different regions in Chile. We're going to cover those next week. But in terms of, for example, access to Easter Island, the only way from South America is via Santiago. You can access Easter Island from Tahiti as well, from Polynesia. They only have one flight a week. So you need to be setting up that itinerary is not that easy, but it's of course it's definitely possible. The most frequencies are from Santiago. Next week we're going to see Atacama, Uyuni, and other parts of South America. In the meantime, we invite you to continue being part of this Nomad Discover series. And thank you for joining. Chiloé is an amazing destination, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.